Welcome to Accountants Law Pod, where accounting professionals and law firms converge. Hosted by Linda Artisani, Sarah Prevost, and Stephen Libhart.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We're so glad. We were just talking about this the other day, the three of us, about how many people follow us and how random people that we don't expect, that really don't even do the work we do, say, hey, I listen to your podcast and I learn a lot. And I'm like, wow, what made you find us? And I don't know if they're just finding us through us, but it's fascinating how many people, whether they're attorneys, bookkeepers, which makes it a little bit harder, even in our topic today, it's going to make it a little harder to kind of speak to it because we can speak to the legal bookkeepers or bookkeepers and the attorneys as well. But then we've got this whole other host of people that kind of listen to us, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. Something new.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got a lot of downloads, which is really interesting, which is fun. And today's topic is going to be QuickBooks Online Alternatives, so QBO Alternatives. And I'm going to pass it off to Steve because this is his favorite topic of all time. No, I'm kidding, Steve. Your face was like, what is she doing?
What?
I just use QuickBooks.
No, that's fine. I've used Sage in the past, way back in the old days. And QuickBooks. I actually liked Sage. It was really cool.
You mean like Peachtree Sage?
I don't remember. I just knew it as Sage, and we did our billing and we did the bookkeeping and accounting and everything through it. And it was really pretty cool. This is way, 10, 15 years ago, which it's probably changed a lot. And I'll tell you, I'm one of the old supporters of QuickBooks Desktop. I really liked that platform a lot. And I was like, why are we destroying it, QuickBooks? Why?
Because it's had a snail, because I feel like that's a snail.
Yeah, you really can't. Yeah. I mean, you're saying that because you haven't been working in it. Trust me, when I run off to that one client that it's coming to an end, finally, I sit there going, oh my God, I forgot. And you forget. You think, right, all these years, you and I were in it, and Sarah too, were in it, in Desktop, and then you don't use it. And I get in there, I'm like, where's the journal entries again? Or where's
you're right. You're right.
It's not where you think, right? It's completely different. But, Desktop, I saw it in their file and I've seen it online on Reddit where people are like, it says my subscription's coming to an end. What do I do? Which is a great lead into this topic because it was 2026 was the year that this is the end of the end of the end on Desktop, not Enterprise Solutions Desktop, but regular Desktop, that they're not going to be supporting it anymore. And they're not going to be updating it, which we know they haven't done any updating for 3 years, but they're trying to roll it away, right? Trying to get rid of it. So we know this, and you're looking for a solution. And if you're a law firm, you might be going, well, can I move into something that's all in one? So I don't have to have a QuickBooks and a Clio. Can I just have the one? And Clio has that as a solution called Clio Accounting, which we can talk a little bit about why you probably don't want to go there yet. I mean, we will be the biggest cheerleaders when that product is great.
When they do it, yeah.
It's in its infancy, and it's not great. It's a lot of clicking. And if you've been used to not clicking like in QuickBooks, you're going to be clicking around a lot. And then it's also very rigid. There's a lot of things it doesn't do. I don't know if it prints checks yet, but at one point it didn't even print a check. You couldn't print a check. You couldn't run a payroll through it. There was no integration with a payroll software. Lots of barriers there because it's meant for the smallest of small, not growing firms.
I think of
I'm glad you said that.
The spreadsheet style. Okay, it's a little.
It's the next step up from a spreadsheet. Yeah. If the spreadsheet fits you and it's perfectly fine, and you wanted something a little bit nicer, that's great. But we all know with attorneys, they grow out of their spreadsheet fairly quickly. It becomes unmanageable.
Let's be honest. You're a law firm. You're operating as a law firm. You shouldn't be in a spreadsheet.
Well, and to your point, Linda, about for the small law firms, that's what it's going to be.
One person.
But it worries me that they'll get lost in the weeds and not practice law. They're going to worry about doing their books, create these big messes, and then they're still going to have to grow into something more robust if they want to grow their firm.
And it doesn't convert into, you don't like, oh, I really grew. I have I've got staff now. I need to have a payroll. Let me flip a switch and turn it into Clio and QuickBooks. That doesn't happen there. So you don't have that switch. That's one of the first questions you asked a few years ago, Sarah, when you went into it and you said, can you convert to the bigger file? And the answer back was,
No.
oh, no. And it was almost like, I'm surprised you're asking this question.
Yeah.
And now we're like, well,
Yeah.
that's a problem, you know?
Yeah, because you can grow pretty quickly, as we've seen with our clients. One of the preferred standalone ledgers that we really like is Xero. It
Mhm.
works similar and a little different in a lot of ways with the like if you were using a Clio integration, but even just as a ledger alone.
Yeah, that's probably the only one I would say is equivalent to QuickBooks. Like if you wanted to have like you're so mad at QuickBooks because this
Yeah,
doesn't work or that doesn't
yeah,
work or the price increases or whatever, insert your reason. And you're like, I'm leaving QuickBooks. Where do I go? That's your real only choice.
yeah.
That
It is right
logically will
now.
give you a
Yeah.
similar response, right? You're going to get a similar product.
Yeah.
There's nothing else really out there unless you move up to like the really big fancy ones, like you mentioned. There's a Sage. There's what's
The
the other one?
Luna is one of the big
The
like
Luna is big for
it's
law
a
firm.
unique one.
Yeah,
There's
one of our members in the law lab is like specializes in that one. It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
fancy.
There's
Um,
some people have Carrot, but it's disjointed. It's not
yeah,
one that they
it's
integrate.
kind of new to Carrot, or was it
Yeah.
something else that turned into Carrot, right?
I feel like it was something else that turned into Carrot.
Because you're like, why did they change the name to Carrot? Kind of like, why did they change the law pay to
Mm-hmm.
8 a.m.? You
Well,
know,
MyCase is one that can be practice management, and then you use the accounting side, or no, it's kind of messy
well, they're
to me
separate.
over
Like
there.
they're
Yeah,
separate, like Clio, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you have the Clio accounting, and then you have the MyCase all in one.
Hmm.
But that's a maybe a year ahead of. But it's not great. It's got lots of the same issues because it's really hard to make a GL. So when you're looking at that, it's the same issues you're going to run into that it doesn't have this feature, it doesn't have that
Yeah.
feature, because these are the ones, and you're going to lose a lot of what you're going to lose, and I think people forget about is the reporting. So you're going to lose reporting that you're accustomed to in QuickBooks. You will get it in Xero because Xero now has SIFT inside, but you're not going to have it in a lot of these products are going to be very small amounts of reports that you're going to be able to extract. So if you're looking to grow and you're looking to track your KPIs and you're looking to use it, your accounting piece for firm growth, forecasting, budgeting, you're going to lose all of that because a lot of them don't have any of that. So
So I guess the question comes down to, which oftentimes we see in here is, do I do an all-in-one? Do I not do an all-in-one? And there could be major differences to that approach. As a firm, like you may want to be an all-in-one for certain reasons. You may have to be in an
mhm.
all-in-one due to maybe a bar audit
I
that
was just
has
saying
occurred.
punishment,
Yeah,
punishment software.
yeah. Or there could be maybe you kind of go into this and you weren't planning on growing, right? You just planned to sustain. Steve, you've talked about this before. You're just going to kind of sit in this like level of space. Well, then is that the right software to be in? Whichever one you pick is an all-in-one. Or what we find is, why have all your eggs in one basket?
Yeah.
Why not have a little bit of flexibility and mobility for growth or change? Or you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to want to see growth in. And you might hire maybe somebody to join the firm that has a different practice area. And the type of practice management tool that you picked that's an all in one doesn't really adequately support that practice area. We've seen that a lot.
Well,
In
and
a
then you
lot
have
of
to go shopping for apps. You have to find apps
That's
that are
it.
going to,
That's just going to say that same thing.
yeah.
Mhm.
You have no app selection when you're in those products.
In the all in ones. Yeah, it's
In the
very
all-in-ones
limited.
and in
Yeah,
these
yeah,
little accounting
yeah,
ones that are those
yeah,
kind, you're restricted. I mean, even
yeah.
even in Xero, you don't have all of the same connections, but they're probably in second place when it comes to that stuff. So, and you get Clio. So if you want Clio, which is the number one, a
Hmm.
legal tech, you get that with Xero. So you can have that, at least that combination. We're
Yeah,
hoping someday lien law makes something to go with it.
yeah,
And, the
yeah.
more people that move over, and you see a lot of people are in this space. We talk to a lot of bookkeepers, and they're like, I'm so fed up with QuickBooks and the way they treat us because they used to treat us like kings and queens. And now
Hmm.
we were the guinea pig for a lot of this stuff. People have
Hmm.
a sour taste in their mouth for that, and they want to move over and just be done with it. And really
Well,
moved to Xero for that
the
reason.
noise of it
Yeah.
and the
Commercials.
changes.
Well put.
I saw a friend of ours, post, another podcaster, gentleman, and post, and he goes, "What's this?" And he posts the dashboard of QBO, and I was like, "Yeah, exactly. What the hell is that?"
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. And then you get that stupid box now that Intuit intelligence gets in your way. It just pops up and you have to go click to close it. And I know that's an insignificant thing, but when you're trying to work and you have this annoyance, it's a really big annoyance. So
slows
you
you
just
down.
keep doing it,
Slows you
and
down.
then don't even go talk about QuickBooks payroll right now because we've had so many issues there as well.
Payroll, taxes,
Yep. Sales tax just had a
the modern
problem.
reports.
Yep.
You
Oh,
are
God,
working. Yeah, you work in the modern reports and you go and change something, but it doesn't change it in the report. And
yep.
Yeah.
it's just so painful.
And I don't know why. I'm sure I would love to talk to someone to find out
Yes.
why you decided to upgrade the reports. We made us all beta test it.
Mhm.
Let us be able to switch it back. And then all of a sudden you're realizing everybody's switching it back. So there's a problem. Why did you present it when it really wasn't ready to go? Like if, especially I've seen posts where people showed, here's the balance sheet, same thing, cash basis, same date. Here it
Mhm.
is again in the other report, and the numbers are different. How can the numbers
Yes.
be different? The numbers are what the numbers are. They can't be different. But
Or
I've
it's not
seen
populating
posts.
all the numbers.
Nope. Yeah.
True.
And then
True.
how do we work? Like we
You,
live by the numbers.
going back to changing software, um, or the ability to move. I see this right now. You see this, it's on a rise right now. You see a lot of people saying they want to take stuff out of ChatGPT and throw it into another AI tool, Claude
Yes,
tool,
yes,
right?
that's huge right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big shift. Okay, so if you're in a closed loop system, taking that data out is painful, if not limiting. You can only take a certain amount out. How do you back it up? Do you have to hold on to legacy data?
Yeah.
And one thing I can say from experience is we had, one legacy system to another was each partially used to go into, Clio. And when you pulled all this data out, oh my God, the naming, the restriction, all the stuff that didn't actually align. Same people's names, but spelled like so many different ways. And you had to sift through records upon records. I think it took us a month and a half with a
Cleaning it
support
up.
person to help us sift through this massive data load. And then in the end, to get it in, and you're still cleaning it up. We're still cleaning it up. It's not.
And to your point, Sarah, if you're moving over out of something, say you're in PC law and you're moving to the cloud and you're going to QuickBooks and Clio, and you reach out to their sales department and they're like, we can do this, we'll do it on, I don't know, March 10th. And then you're like, oh, perfect. And then you're thinking in your head, you really need to have them show you what they're doing
Yeah.
because what they're saying to you, you need to double check and make sure those records are what they are after they've done the migration and that everything looks the same. Test it out. Do they have the same look? And also make sure you're understanding what it's going to look like on the other side because sometimes it doesn't look exactly like the client thinks it's going to.
Yeah.
And if you're an accounting firm that does migrations like we do, we try to let them see a picture, but we're not going to pull all the data and
That's a
say,
great idea.
here it is. This is what it's going to look like. No, you want to do a little sample and say, this is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think they're understanding what you're saying, but they really aren't seeing it until they see it because that's not what they
It's
do.
a visual thing for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
very much a visual thing. And
Well, I
you can,
think
I see
attorneys are
Steve.
they're looking for a quick solution quite often.
Mhm.
And there is no one size fits all here.
Ding,
it's
ding,
not
Um,
ding,
quick.
ding, ding, ding.
Data migration's not quick. It's expensive, it's painful. It's something you got to pay attention to because when it moves over is going to be a lag in time and you're going to not be able to bill on XYZ date, which is going to make everybody upset if they're all waiting for their bonuses. You really have to think about the timing of this.
Mhm.
And then you have to make sure everybody moves over because we've had that happen where somebody was still working in the old method
oh boy.
and then doing the new method and like, why is this taking her so long? I'm like, oh my God, she was doing both. She was comfortable in the old
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
wasn't comfortable in the new. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy.
Steve, I see you. Something's rolling off your tongue here,
Oh,
shortly.
I think back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. I still I still like QuickBooks. I do.
Of course. Yeah. I mean,
I still do.
There.
So I don't want to get that across that we're sour on it, but with all of the changes, I just, to your point a few minutes ago, I wonder if there's somebody out there we could find to come talk to us here about what's going on, because what you may know the answer to this, but what percentage of users in the QuickBooks world are accounting firms? Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And is the pendulum going to come back our way? Are enough people going to switch over to a Xero or a Clio Accounting or whatever, that the pendulum might come back and they'll want to take an interest in the results that we're seeing or not seeing in their platform? Because, it's a huge, huge company. And I feel like they're catering to their stock owners, their board of directors. I mean, that's where everything is these days. But I don't know. They've got to know what's going on they've got to be seeing people switching to these other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's, I know there's other ones out there, but as far as I think when you look at a ledger system, an accounting ledger system, and you look at your practice management system and the benefits of, something that came to mind earlier, and I forgot to share this, was an idea of you have these separate systems. Sometimes that's nice as a business owner.
Yeah.
You don't want your staff to have full knowledge of certain things. Maybe you want only a handful of people to be doing X, Y, and Z roles, and you want other people to have other types of roles. Those systems allow for user roles in these separate ledgers, which is very helpful.
Good point.
I feel like I've seen quite a bit where, and I'm not sure of these, all-in-ones, but I've seen quite a bit where you're a certain subset of users, basically. You're only going to be in this product. You have no knowledge of the other product, or you're going to be in this product, but with the sub criteria. And that owners, sometimes in the beginning, you give a lot because you need the help, but then you realize it's the nature of people. They're going to maybe start asking or using or stating data in a way that you're like, oh, that's not open for public knowledge. We don't share that type of information. And you have now an HR piece to it that you're not open.
Oh, true.
Right? Yeah.
True.
So those are the non-thing, you don't think of these things, right? When you're in that moment, you're experiencing it, or you're long 5-year down the road kind of mentality. You don't know what you're going to have as far as when you're starting out. If you're in the middle and you're in a non-modernized software, your talent pool is not attractive, right? Because
very true.
It's very archaic. Lyndon, I've said this a lot. You change how you work every day.
It's hard enough to find people to do the work, but then if you're taking it from some, all right, here's the QuickBooks pile of people who can do the work. And now here's maybe the Xero pile of people work. And here's the Zoho pile. You're really narrowing it down quite a bit. And, and the other thing too, we also see with attorneys is they go in to buy QuickBooks and they buy the cheapest version possible that does nothing. And it's like, what are you doing? It doesn't, and then they come to you and they're like, I'm trying to track my practice areas and all this. Well, you can't do that in that product. What are you doing?
Simple.
No, I know it. I didn't realize that some of these still existed, because I know there's a few other new ones that I'm like, wow. But yeah, so you got to remember to the lowest price, or come to us in FreshBooks or Wave, those products that are, I don't even know anything about them. I know one of them was free for a long time, but I don't think they're anywhere near the level that an attorney should be using these for their books.
Well, you're free is you testing their product on behalf, everything like that. Are you kidding me? Pay and quit. This is not a nickel and dime situation. You have clients' information in a set of books.
Yes.
Come on now.
Yes.
Steve, do you have your heart and soul in this the way we do?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And, let's use an example of a immigration attorney.
Okay.
And they give the receptionist the responsibility of doing the books because she's a body sitting there, and there you go. You're the bookkeeper.
She has time, Steve.
She's got time. Exactly. And you get a phone call, Mr. Immigration Attorney, for somebody who wants you to handle a divorce. And you're like, well, that's not my specialty. And right there is a great example. Why is your receptionist the the person doing the books. If you're, as an immigration attorney, can't do a divorce, same thing. Same thing. It's not, you just throw people at the problem. That's why there are people doing the specialty work that they do. And that's why we do what we do. And to your point, Linda, when they're buying the lesser cost level of a QuickBooks, as an example, and then they've got a receptionist doing the books or a paralegal or whatever, and they go to her or him and say, okay, I need this report to do this and that, and I need it by 5 o'clock today. And they're like, uh-oh, how do I do that?
We find that when we do migrations, that we'll do a migration and then we present the data afterwards and all the things you can get out of the data. And you can tell by their face that they know that the person that's been doing the books might be a great admin, but they don't have the knowledge that we do to help them figure out how to grow or do, make changes in their system, or they never looked at. We'll ask pointed questions, even starting out with just the chart of accounts and what we think you should have in the chart of accounts.
It's going to be different for every type of law.
They don't have that knowledge. That's not what they're there for. And sometimes it's the paralegal. Like, why are you wasting a paralegal's time doing bookkeeping? That's not what they're specialized in. So, and you're wasting that person's time doing bookkeeping. And I think that we see that a lot. We see that a lot, unfortunately, that people think that the person doesn't have a lot to do. We'll just throw this job at them and see how they can do it. And then when we get the records, we're like, whoa, why is this here? And then it's always, well, the person didn't know.
I was going to say, there's a couple other things I thought of when you both were talking is your entity structure will change. Right. So being in those smaller platforms, or those kind of like boutique style platforms, don't support your future growth in that way. So entity structures require different subset of books. We had a client go into a partnership. I'm like, okay. And then realize I probably shouldn't have done it this way because my entity structure doesn't allow for the simplicity of a partnership in X, Y, and Z way. You have compensation modeling, all of these things that come into this equation that, to your point, Steve, you have a receptionist answering the phone, and divorce is not the thing that an immigration firm is going to take on.
Right.
You can't grow with that. And so you're limiting yourself in just, it's software. It's just software. Well, there's more of us behind the software to make that software grow and work, in the investment of time and tools that we take. The chart of accounts is one example. It's different for a litigation firm than it is for an immigration firm, than it is for a personal injury. They're all different. And boy, oh boy, don't make that mistake. There is not one size that fits all again, because your chart of accounts is set up specifically for your firm, for the type of business you're doing. And it all filters into your tax return at the end. And if it's not set up properly, and it's money, it's information in, information out, but it's garbage in, garbage out, basically. You're not getting. Imagine what kind of taxes you're paying on garbage.
Well, that's the thing too. They end up paying more taxes. So where was the savings?
Where was the savings for $40? Right.
Well, we see it with the practice management tool, or with they don't want to use Clio. They don't want to pay all that money for Clio, and you're protecting the trust account this way, or lien law, whatever you want to use.
Whatever you're doing,
but you're protecting mistakes.
Yeah.
I think I showed one client one time. I'm like, when we went back and forth about why he needed software, and finally at that point I said, I think I made a Loom video. I'm like, this is all the steps that your lady in the office has to do when you take on a new.
Oh, that was brilliant.
And then I said, and this is how you do it in lien law. Click, click. And it was all done in the right categories. The money went in the right accounts. And it wasn't a chance of missing a step, because it was like a 15-step process the way it was being done. And it just, to save what? $60? Don't you think it's costing you about $60 to do that? And don't you want to save off of the any errors this way, with having a software system set in place that you're going to get also that, but you're going to get all the reporting. And if you pick Clio, you're going to get all the practice management tools, and you're going to get the protections of keeping the files safe and communicating with the client safe. And you're going to get the templates. There's a lot there that's time saving that will more than double your time saving with money you're going to save. You're going to save money by buying the software, not lose money.
Yeah.
Sometimes
and you're going to sleep better at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes attorneys start out and they're not ready to grow and they're trying to keep their costs down. I mean, you understand where it's coming from. They're just starting out and they're trying to really keep their costs tight, but then sometimes it's just the wrong things that they're cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize it, and that's why they come to us and we explain it to them and why they want it. And then on the flip side of that, sometimes we get people that are just starting out. They were at a big firm, they're starting their own firm, and they come to us and they're like, I don't want to screw this up because it's always been
Yeah.
done for me in the big firm. Help me get going. Help me get
I
started.
love that. I love
I do
that.
too. I really
Mm-hmm.
do. Because it shows how intelligent they are. They want to start out and get it done the right way. And that's the most
Yeah.
important.
And you may not necessarily need everyday services from us or monthly services at that time, but you
Hmm.
grow into it. But establishing that strong foundation and people that know how to work in the practice management software to help you, to guide, give you the bumpers, basically. I think it's smart in
It is.
starting, and then you can see where your growth potential is. Some people start a business and they already know that their referral leads are enough.
Yeah.
They left X, Y, and Z firm to go out on their own, probably maybe for one reason or the other. Maybe the firm didn't want to really use that expertise because they're less resting it on one attorney, right? They don't want to staff it. That makes sense dollar wise, right? For that moment.
Mhm.
Scalability, go out on your own, refer over to you, have mutual referral benefits. There you are. I mean, it works. It just, there's a lot more behind just picking the software to pick the software. You have to think about it. And there are other offerings out there with people that can support it. We talk about this in the mastermind group in
Mhm.
our law lab about Xero. We went into a deep dive last week on Xero, and it was awesome and mind-boggling. And also I kind of was like, oh, ask me questions because maybe I'm going too fast because I take for granted my knowledge.
Mhm.
But it's exciting to see people are using other tools that, like you said, Linda, are are out there in the market that actually have strong foundations that we can use that could tap into a multitude of other things and not just all in ones where you're limited, you're stuck.
Yeah,
So,
you're very limited. If you get into something like a Cosmolex, which is probably the best all-in-one, the most robust one,
mhm.
you make an error that you need to correct in a reconciled period, you had to unreconcile that sucker and go all
Ah.
the way back and then re-reconcile. It's not a quick
It's
fix. And
painful.
it's and the UI is hard. Like you got to learn the UI. And then again, you've got that small pool of people who do Cosmolex,
Hmm.
who use it, who know where things are. And it's, I don't know, for me, I was like, where the heck is this? And Sarah's like, oh, it's right here. Because she's got that kind of a brain that maps out all kinds of software. But I'm like, well, why is it there? And
Yeah, which
why
is
they put it there?
it's a good question to ask because
Mhm.
a lot of people think like that.
Yeah, it's buried five layers deep. It's like, why did you bury the check register five
Mhm.
layers deep? That's something that's used all the time. But then again, in an all-in-one, you've got that three-way bank
Yeah,
rec built right in, which is very cool
yeah,
because you can't do that on a software that's got other pieces to it. So it's
yeah.
got its pluses and minuses. But I think overall, if you're going to go to a QBO alternative, I think the real only one that's kind of similar as far as like most businesses we see is Xero. That's it. I don't see
Mhm.
another competitor out there that is the same affordability. It's actually more affordable than
Mhm.
QuickBooks, and
Mhm.
you're getting a similar product. You might have to do things a little bit differently in the product than you do. I mean, it's a different software. It has a different mindset. You will have a learning curve. But I think once you learn it, I mean, the UI is nice. It's pretty blue. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
hard to follow.
yeah.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be a lot harder to follow, but it really
It
isn't.
really is not. Yeah,
Yeah.
It
but
looks very intuitive.
it
Yeah.
does. And there are other tools out there that we know, the three of us know, that are, you know, fairly, I want to say new kids on the block, but I don't want to be the
Digits is good.
test
Yeah.
guinea pig in that product
Yeah.
for a law firm. I just it's not in my nature to do that with the restrictions and the level of compliance and the things that we need to keep our eyes out. I'd rather kind of stick right now with tried and true, and then I'll dabble in it, test it
Mhm.
out in demo files. I was thinking as we're wrapping up here, it's like the what is the Baskin Robbins, the 21 flavors of
Yeah.
like it feels like that right now. It feels like there's like AI tools are out there in abundance. You're like, oh Jesus. Similar to ledgers, they're popping up everywhere because everyone thinks it's easy to build or it's to create one.
Yeah.
And when you get down to the core of it, there are reasons why we like the QuickBooks of the world. There are reasons why we like the Xeros of the world. There are pieces to it that make sense and we can work with it. So if you want to be smart about it in longevity, I'd say those are probably the two.
That's your two best ones to pick.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that really, it comes down to that, unless you're really a large law firm that needs a specialized product. You know, the typical partnerships that we see, the small, mid-size that we
Cash
see,
basis.
these are the ones that fit. I mean, that fits QuickBooks and it fits Xero, basically, in a nutshell.
I need a nap after this one.
I need a nap in general today. I just feel like it's
Me too.
dragging. So
we're doing this recording right after daylight savings time, everybody. So
feel it too.
I'm waiting to drink my coffee because I don't want to spill.
Okay. Oh yeah, you have a white shirt on like me. Sorry, we're white today.
I know. I wanted this one on. So.
All right, T, take us away.
If you liked what you heard today, don't forget to like, share, and leave a quick review. It's the easiest way to help other accountants and lawyers discover our little corner of the podcast world. And while you're at it, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Do you have a question or a topic that you'd love us to cover? Just drop us a line at info@accountantslawpod.com, send us a message through our website, accountantslawpod.com, or drop us a comment on any of our socials. Your idea might just make it into a future episode. And if you want to go beyond listening, consider sponsoring an episode and connect with our community of accounting and legal professionals who love learning, laughing, and leveling up. And don't forget to join the conversation inside the Accountants Law Lab Mastermind group at accountantslawlab.com, where collaboration meets inspiration every week.
Okay.
Awesome.
That was great. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.